are just over 10 million worlds in this universe with similar humanities to our own. This is but a few races who all have been involved with our life wave for some reason. Arcturus is one of the most advanced extraterrestrial civilizations in our galaxy. It is a fifth-dimensional civilization which, in reality, is like a prototype for Earth's future. Its energy works with humanity as an emotional, mental and spiritual healer. It is also an energy gateway through which humans pass during death and rebirth. It functions as a way station for non-physical consciousness to become accustomed to physicality. The book, The Keys of Enoch, has described it as the midway station or programming center used by the physical brotherhoods in our local universe to govern the many rounds of experiments with physicals on our end of the galaxy. Their total focus in every aspect of their society to the path of God realization. The Arcturians teach that the most fundamental ingredient for living in the fifth dimension is love. They teach that negativity, fear and guilt must be overcome and be exchanged for love and light. Arcturus is the brightest star in the Bootes constellation, which is approximately 36 light-years from Earth. The Arcturians work in very close connection with the Ascended Masters, whom they refer to as the Brotherhood of the All. They also work very closely with what they refer to as the Galactic Command. The Arcturians travel the universe in their starships, which are some of the most advanced in the entire universe. One of the reasons that Earth has not been attacked by more warlike negative extraterrestrials has been these civilizations' fear of these advanced starships of the Arcturians. These ships are the cutting-edge state-of-the-art technology. One of the starships circling the Earth is called the Starship Athena, named after one of the Greek gods. The Arcturian society is governed by what they call the Elders. These beings are revered by the people of Arcturus for the advanced knowledge, wisdom, and extremely high vibrational frequencies. The higher the vibrational frequency, the closer one is to light, or spirit or God. The Arcturians are very short in physical stature, about 3 to 4 feet tall. They are also very slender. They also all look very much alike in appearance. The Arcturians pride themselves in this because this raises the pettiness of comparison of looks, which is so predominant in our society. Agarians or Agartians, a group of Asiatic or Nordic humans who, sources claim, discovered a vast system of caverns below the region of the Gobi Desert and surrounding areas thousands of years ago, and have since established a thriving kingdom within, one which has been interacting with other planetary systems up until current times. Vast cavern systems below Tibet allegedly link the Agati systems of Central Asia to Snake World, a multi-leveled cavern system under the southwestern slopes of the Himalayas where the Nagas dwell. According to Hindu legend, here a serpent cult of human and reptilian collaborators dwells, one which is said to have had contact with the Nazi Thule Society during World War II. Long ago, an Asian prince is said to have led several militant followers, warrior monks, into the caves and came in conflict with this serpent cult. Following the conflict, the reptilians and collaborating forces were driven out. However, in recent centuries they have regained some ground. Alpha Draconians, reptilian beings who are said to have established colonies in Alpha Draconis. Like all reptilians, these claim to have originated on Terra thousands of years ago. The fact that they used to justify their attempt to retake the Earth for their own. They are apparently a major part of a planned invasion, which is eventually turning from covert infiltration mode to overt invasion mode as the window of opportunity, the time span before international human society becomes an interplanetary and interstellar power, slowly begins to close. They are attempting to keep the window open by suppressing advanced technology from the masses, which would lead to eventual Terran colonization of other planets by Earth and an eventual solution to the population, pollution, food and other environmental problems. Being that Terrans have an inbred warrior instinct, the Draconians do not want them as to attain interstellar capabilities and therefore become a threat to their imperialistic agendas. Draconian. Alpha Centaurians. The extraterrestrials from Alpha Centauri vibrate and resonate on the band of violet light. This civilization has enormous scientific and technical knowledge that is of the highest quality in the universe. The Alpha Centaurians are very theoretical. Part of their mission on Earth is to help raise the Earth's scientific, technical and theoretical knowledge. Their mission is to also find ways to make this knowledge understandable to our society, since they are so much more advanced. One of the ways they are doing this is by telepathically linking up with some of our most advanced scientists. Because these beings are so incredibly intelligent and are of such a high vibration, they sometimes have a difficult time grounding these ideas on the earthly plane. The beings from Sirius are very good at bridging this gap, because they are very good at the practical application of these ideas, and making these theories usable for our third-dimensional society. The Sirians are the workers and doers of the Earth. Altarians, alleged reptilian inhabitants of the Altair stellar system in the constellation Aquila, in collaboration with a smaller Nordic human element and a collaborative Grey and Terran military presence. Headquarters of a collective known as the Corporate, which maintains ties with the Ashtar and Draconian collectives. Amphibians similar to the saurians or reptiloids, yet being hominoid creatures with reptilian as well as amphibian-like features and are semi-aquatic in nature, may have once lived on land yet became more aquatic over the centuries. They have been encountered near swampy regions, rivers, etc., and have been known to attack people without being provoked. It is interesting that some types of greys and reptiloids are believed to be semi-aquatic, having webbed fingers and toes. Draconian. Anakim, the also referred to the Els, short for elder race, or simply as the Giants, referred to an ancient Hebrew tradition. This race is allegedly tied in with a branch of ancient humans who broke off from mainstream humanity because of their vast size which had developed over the centuries. Possibly as a result of a genetic anomaly, they are said to range anywhere from 9-11 FD, and in some cases even 12 feet, in height. Although in configuration they are remarkably similar to international humans, is said to possess a means of molecular condensing and expansion which allows some of their kind to mingle among humans on the surface. They have allegedly been encountered in deep and extensive cavern systems below the western part of North America, as far north as Alaska, as far south as Mexico, and as far east as Texas. They are believed to have interstellar traveling capabilities. Antarctica, and this is allegedly a secret area of operations for both human and reptilian beings. It is said by some that Aryan Nazi scientists actually developed disc-shaped aircraft capable of very advanced aerial performance, and that swastikas have been seen on a few aerial discs. They may be piloted by a purebred, blonde, blue-eyed Aryan race. There appears to be more than one blonde human society involved in the UFO scenarios, and especially subterranean human societies may have developed blonde hair due to lack of sunlight. There does not seem to be anything more than a peripheral connection between the Antarcticans, the Telosian and the Pleiadian blondes, i.e., we will refer to the Antarcticans as the Aryans, the Telosians as the blondes. The Antarcticans may consist largely of batch-consigned, purebred, blue-eyed, blonde Aryans who became victims of Hitler's obsession to create a super race, and as suggested by Harbinson and others, most of these may be controlled through mind manipulation and implants, being human drones who are used to keep this hidden society functioning. A massive joint humanoid reptiloid underground system called the New Berlin is said to lie below the mountains of Neuschwabenland, Antarctica. It is said by some sources that this joint human alien force has spread terror through this sector of the galaxy, conquering and committing untold atrocities against the peaceful inhabitants of other worlds.
Anunnaki Nimrod in Iraq. Nimrod was a worshipper of Anu. Nimrod, unlike Abraham, did not believe in an unseen deity. Nimrod wanted Abraham to worship Anu, the Most High, known as Elyownel. Nimrod was the founder of the city of Babylon, and his most renowned architectural influence was the construction of the Tower of Babel. Nimrod also had a city named in honor of Anu. It was to be called Calna or Kalna, Genesis 10:10, meaning fortress of Anu. It used to be an ancient city in Babylon, Mesopotamia. Kalna is often associated with Nippur, which is one of the 7 cities that was inhabited by the agreeable Anunnaki. Nippur was also known as Kodish. It was originally called Nibruchi, meaning birthplace of Nibiru. It was the city of Enlil, the Anunnaki Elohim, son of Anwanantum. Not only was Kalna one of Nimrod's cities, there was Babel or Babylon, the ancient site and capital of Babylon near the Euphrates, Erech, a city 40 miles northwest of Ur, toward Babylon on the left bank of the Euphrates, and Akkad or Akkad, a city in North Babylon and a part of the district around it, are all a part of the land of Shinar, called by many, the country of 2 rivers, literally meaning, plains of the flatlands, in the land of Shinar. Today, called Iraq, is the place where the ancient Sumerians came to set up an advanced civilization where you'd find pictograph cuneiform writings.
Atlans. These are humans, usually described as being benevolent by comparison to other groups, who are said to inhabit vast and complex cavern cities beneath southern Brazil and surrounding regions. The term Atlantean, or Atlan, in reference to these races, has been placed upon them because of the fact that these cavern networks along the east coast of Brazil were reportedly once a part of the antediluvian Atlantean Empire. The present inhabitants have no direct genetic relation to the ancient Atlantean society, which is said to have controlled these cavern systems several millennia ago, but are referred to as Atlanteans simply because they are descendants of those who rediscovered and inhabited the ancient Atlan installations, as in North America and other continents. Both common and gnome-like humans have been encountered here, some of which possessed advanced aerial or disc technology. The Telosians claim to have some connections with South America, especially the Mato Grosso region, where a sister city named POSID exists in a large cavern system, underground. Ashtar Command, the airborne division of the Great White Brotherhood, one of the most interesting and intriguing extraterrestrial groups of them all is that of Commander Ashtar and the Ashtar Command. Commander Ashtar is the man who is in charge of the airborne division of the Great White Brotherhood, or Brotherhood of Light. Commander Ashtar and his vast extraterrestrial army of workers of over 20 million work closely and in conjunction with the Ascended Masters. Besides the 20 million personnel under his command in our solar system, of which he is in charge, there are another 4 million members and workers on the physical plane. Commander Ashtar, himself, is a great and noble being approximately 7 feet in height with blue eyes. His body type is that of the Adam Kadmon, which means it is similar to ours of Earth. He evolved from the planet Ashtar in his development as a soul. He has never had an embodiment on planet Earth. Although Commander Ashtar is in charge of the space fleet in our solar system, he is not restricted to this sector of space in terms of his service. He represents our solar system in the council meetings of our galaxy and universes throughout the greater omni-universe. One of the important things to understand about Commander Ashtar and his army of workers and fleet of extraterrestrial aircraft is that they are etheric in nature. They do not have physical bodies like we do, however they are able to manifest physical bodies and manifest their aircraft onto the physical plane anytime they want. A person seeing him would not think of them any differently than you or I. Most of the life on the other planets in our solar system is etheric in nature. Sometimes for this reason these beings have been called Etherians. They would not be considered disincarnate beings, for they do have bodies. They are in a state of evolution just as we are, and their life on their plane is not that much different than ours, except that they have transcended much of the lower self and astral desire that the people of Earth struggle with so frequently. Commander Ashtar also works closely with the angelic kingdom, most specifically with Archangel Michael. Commander Ashtar is an extremely loving and gentle man, but stern and adamant in his mission to serve, educate and protect humankind throughout the solar system. Commander Ashtar and his crew do not wish to be seen as gods, but rather as comrades and equals with us on paths of ascension and beyond. Two of his main missions are to spiritually educate mankind to their true mission for being here, and secondly to defend and protect the Earth and the solar system from hostile and selfish extraterrestrial groups. People have no idea of the gratitude that is entitled to him and his tireless crew and workers. The Ashtar Command and the negative extraterrestrials. There are many extraterrestrial civilizations throughout the galaxy, universe, and omni-universe that have come to Earth to collect data and perform experiments for their own selfish purposes. They are not here to be of service. Some of these extraterrestrials are of what might be termed a neutral nature, and some are serving the dark forces. One of the problems the Ashtar Command has is that if our government makes legally binding agreements with certain negative extraterrestrial groups, they are not allowed to interfere with our free choice, unless we are endangering our solar system and galaxy. The number of negative extraterrestrials is small in number compared to the vast number of positive extraterrestrials. However, the negative ones are quite dangerous if not controlled. Thank goodness for the Ashtar Command. As a general rule, the cigar-shaped UFO craft are potentially the dangerous extraterrestrials. There are a few exceptions to this rule. Back to the Ashtar Command, back to White Brotherhood. The Andromedan Council has ordered all extraterrestrial presences on the planet, in the planet, and on the moon to be completely out of our space. They want everything that's ET, benevolent or not, off the planet. This will be very interesting since there are over 1,833 reptilians living in our planet and over 18,000 greys living underground and on the moon. The Council would like to see how we will live with each other when we are not being manipulated by ETs, as we have been for the last 5,723 years. Member name: Andromedan Star Nations, accepted into the Galactic Federation. Approximately 3.5 million years ago. Location: the constellation of Andromeda. Distance from Earth: approximately 150 to over 4,000 light years. Lifeform type: humanoid. Physical appearance: humanoid, similar in appearance to Earth humans. They usually wear the traditional multicolored Galactic Federation jumpsuits. Andromedans consist of two basic Earth human types. The first is a Caucasian that ranges from a so-called Nordic type, blonde hair, blue eyes, pale skin, to a Mediterranean type, light to dark brown hair, gray to brown eyes, tanned-looking skin. The second is a typical Oriental, with dark hair, dark Asian eyes and a skin color that varies from very pale brown to a dark shade of brown. The eyes of all Andromedans are slightly larger than those of Earth humans. The lips are thin and colored almost a light pink, while the ears are fitted slightly lower on the side of the head and are slightly smaller in size. The hands and the feet are delicate in appearance with long fingers and toes. The men vary in height from 5 feet 7 inches to almost 7 feet 1.7 to 2.12 meters. The women range from 5 feet 4 inches to almost 6 feet 4 inches 1.63 to 1.93 meters high. Andromedan women are noted for their alluring energies and the quite buxom figures. Bernarians, inhabitants of the Bernard star system. Although not much has been written about them, it seems that human beings at least in part control this star system, along with the Orange. Whether the Saurians have any influence or not is uncertain. However, some sources indicate a possible collaboration similar to this within our own solar system. Bootians, reptilians from the Booth system. These and reptilian entities from the Draconis system are allegedly involved with the Dolce scenario, as well as the infiltration, implantation, control of human society on Earth in anticipation of their planned takeover at some point in the future. Draconian. Satans or Tausetians, a human race of Mediterranean or South American appearing, tan-skinned humans, very similar to Caucasian humans on Terra except for slight differences. Slightly pointed ears, higher physical density for their size, slightly broad, a nose 5 feet 5 inches tall on average, often wear short, Roman, or crew, style haircuts. Tauseti and Epsilon Eridani are said to be a major convergence of extern human activity, and are said to be in alliance with the Pleiadians, who in turn, according to contactees, have federated alliances with the Vegans, the Umuts, and others. The Cetian alliance with the Pleiadians in other societies who have been victimized by the Grey Predators is based on a desire to establish a common defense against their reptilian nemesis. Chameleon reptilians, genetically bred to enable themselves to appear human. Also less humanoid-appearing reptiloids who use a form of technosis, molecular shapeshifting or laser holograms to produce an outward, human appearance. Reports of these have surfaced from underground joint operational facilities near Dolce, New Mexico, Dugway, Utah, Groom Lake, Nevada, Deep Springs, California, Fort Lewis, Washington and elsewhere, they are reportedly involved in some type of infiltration agenda. These infiltrators can appear remarkably human outwardly, however at the same time retaining reptilian or neosaurian internal organs, often described as appearing bulge-eyed, with scaly, hairless skin behind their disguise. One report alleged that the chameleons may utilize artificial lenses to conceal slit-pupilled irises. Some claim they are genetically bred mercenaries who are part of an advanced guard of a planned, silent invasion takeover of human society. Cassiopean-channeled material is closely aligned with the teachings of the great Sufi master, Ibn al-Arabi, with the fourth way teachings of Gurdjieff, Castaneda, with the esoteric Christianity of Boris Muraviev, and even ancient Altaic shamanism. The Cassiopeans identify themselves as you in the future and as sixth density light beings. Member name: the Great Star Union of Centaurus, accepted into the Galactic Federation 1.1 million years ago. Location: the constellation of Centaurus is located between the constellations of Lupus and Bella. It is best known for its brightest star, the triple star system of Alpha Centauri, also known as Rigel Kentaurus. One of its triple stars is Proxima Centauri, which, at 4.3 light-years, is the closest known star to Earth distance from Earth, 4.3 to over 1,000 light-years. Life form type: a humanoid and a reptoid species. Physical appearance: the humanoid Centaurian closely resembles those humans now found on Earth. The male is very muscular and well proportioned with blonde, brown, black or red hair. The eyes are either slightly Asian in shape, or are rounded, and are brown, black, blue, green or hazel in color. In height, males vary from nearly 6 feet to almost 8 feet, 1.8 to 2.4 meters. Their skin color can be either a very dark brown or a slightly tanned white color. The female is also well proportioned but less muscular, and ranges from 5 feet 5 inches to almost 7 feet, 1.65 to 2.1 meters tall. Elohims: this is the oldest group of aliens in the universe that we know of. They're the ones that are at war with the Orions, which are the ones that manipulate the Greys. Gizan, or Gizan, the Giza people, have been referred to by the Pleiadians, Billy Meyer, contacts, as well as others. This may have some connection with the strange people and technology allegedly encountered in deep labyrinthine recesses beneath Egypt, who were sometimes reportedly seen by explorers, and who are said to dress like ancient Egyptians. There is allegedly, according to leading-edge research, a huge cavern deep beneath Egypt which is inhabited by people with close ties with the U.S. secret government. Some sources indicate that the Giza people may be a controlled society, with the reptilians being the dominant power, although there is still much mystery as to what the Giza Empire is all about. Greys, the small neosaurian hominoids, very prolific and intelligent, may be the brains or intellect of the serpent race, whereas the larger arachnoids allegedly act as the physical overlords and thus are of a higher ranking than the Greys. The Greys are logic-based and operate on base animal survival or predatory instincts, and in most cases are emotionally insensitive to humans. And, like other reptilian entities, they feed off of human and animal vital fluids by rubbing a liquid protein formula on their bodies, which is then absorbed through the skin. Like typical reptiles which shed their skins, the waste is excreted back through the skin. The greys range from 3.5 to 4.5 feet tall on the average, with skin colors ranging from gray-white to gray-brown to gray-green to gray-blue. Aside from feeding off of human and animal proteins and fluids, they also allegedly feed off the life energy, the vital essence, or soul energy, of humans, as do other reptilian species. This is why those humans seen working with the greys, implanted and programmed drones, whether willingly or unwillingly, have appeared lifeless and emotionless to the witnesses who observed them. The greys are reportedly extremely deceitful, and although they act on logic, to them it is logical to use extremely complex forms of deception to bring about their goals. They are the most commonly observed alien entities encountered during UFO events. Their basic program is service to self. They are using this planet as a supply depot for biological materials, people and cattle mutilations. They are very telepathic in nature. Our world is not the only world they have tried to conquer. The greys from Zeta Reticuli have the ability to magnify their mental field in order to maintain control over humans. These different species of greys are members of a network, which is a type of loose alliance to which all have common purposes and aims. The greys from Rigel were the ones that made the secret deal with the US government. Alien type. The greys of this type, there are several subtypes. All tend to appear grayish in color and for this reason are referred to as greys. Grey type A. This is the type most commonly referred to as the greys, also known as Zeta Reticuli, from the Zeta Reticulan star system, the Bernard star, neighboring the Orion area. They function in a mode that is apparently military in nature, with a rigidly defined social structure that holds science and conquering worlds to be the prime movers. They are normally about 4.5 feet tall, with large heads and black wrap-around eyes. They have limited facial features, slit mouth and no nose to speak of. They have evolved beyond the need for reproductive systems or digestive systems and reproduce by cloning. Their genetics are partly based on insectoidal genetics. Their science deals largely with the study of other life forms and genetic engineering. They seem to be emotionless by human standards, and therefore are seen as cruel in their treatment of human beings. They are able to take human lives without any regard for that individual. They apparently can use certain substances of the human body for their sustenance and therefore appear to be carnivorous in regards to humans. I also read that they extract fluid from some part of the human brain during intense emotional. Greys are actually servants to a master race of reptilian-type aliens and are trying to prepare the Earth for their arrival by gaining control over the Earth through many means. They tend to enjoy the feeling of freedom they have on Earth, away from their masters, and would desire the help of humans in confrontations with the reptilians, which appears to be a consideration for the near future. These greys have their best known bases in New Mexico and Nevada, but are also known to have bases in many countries of the world. Grey type B. Tall greys from Orion, usually about 7 to 8 feet tall. Reports often exaggerate their height as being 9 to 12 feet, with facial feature somewhat similar to Grey type A, with the exception of the large nose found on type B greys. These greys also have technologies that allow them to perform certain actions that appear miraculous. These greys are less viscous towards humans than type A greys. Their main bases seem to be in the Aleutian Islands. These are the types seen not long ago in eastern Russia. Gray type C. These are the shortest of the grays and tend to be about 3.5 feet tall. Their facial features are very similar to the Zeta Reticuli grays and are of the same root race. They are just as hostile to humans as the Zetas. They are from a star system near the shoulder of Orion called Bellatrix. Gray type E, human, gray hybrids. One of the main ET projects, now in the completion stage, is the hybrid program. The goal of this project is to produce a being combining the best physical and mental qualities of both races. The following description is of a hybrid female, approximately 15 years old. Height is 5 feet, 3 inches. Skin color is pale white, gray. The head is slightly larger and rounder than normal. Hair is dark, high above the forehead, and worn in a very long ponytail. The face is very fine-featured and attractive. Like all the beings discussed in this paper, her main method of communication is telepathic. This has allowed a deeper understanding of her intellectual and emotional makeup. They consider themselves human, not gray, in almost all respects. They care about the grays, as any child would a parent, but find them agonizingly boring. The desire for human contact is greater than all others. Their capacity for emotion is as great, if not greater than, humans. Any physical attribute more human than gray is a great source of pride. Their intellectual capacity is well above human standards. It is very likely they will exceed the capabilities of both races. Hybrids are reptilian. Since human and reptilian beings are genetically so different in their physical makeup, a natural hybrid between the two is impossible. However, an unnatural genetic alteration, in essence, splicing human and reptilian genes, has allegedly been attempted. Even if this were accomplished, the offspring would not be an actual hybrid, half human, half reptilian, but would fall to one side or the other. Since reptilians possess no soul matrix as do humans, but instead operate on a collective consciousness level, the hybrid would be human or reptilian depending on whether it was born with or without a soul energy matrix. In most cases, one might tell the difference if the entity had round pupils as opposed to black, opaque or vertical slit pupiled eyes, or 5-digit fingers as opposed to 3 or 4, or external genitalia as opposed to none. This may not always be the rule, especially when the chameleons are considered. Some of the hybrids without souls are fed with human soul energy in an attempt to engraft an already existing human soul matrix into the hybrid. Iguanoids approximately 4 to 5 feet tall, with iguana-like appearance yet hominoid configuration. They have sometimes been seen wearing black, hooded monk robes or cloaks which conceal much of their saurian features, which include tails. These have been reported as being extremely dangerous and hateful towards humans and lesser-ranking reptiloids such as greys. And, like all other branches of the serpent race, they utilize black witchcraft, sorcery and other forms of mind control against their enemies. They appear to be a dimension-hopping sorcerer or priest class among the reptiloid species. Lyrian. The Lyrians were the original ancestors of our galactic family. Many thousands of years ago their civilization reached a very high technological level, however fell into disagreement and factions within the culture. These factions went to war and destroyed much of their society. Many of these beings from Lyra left in their starships to colonize the Pleiades, the Hyades, and the Vega system. Some of these Pleiadians of Lyrian ancestors also came to Earth during the Lemurians and Atlanteans period. The Lyrians now have long evolved past the conflict, or warlike stage of evolution. These other civilizations could be looked at as our galactic cousins, as the original human inhabitants of Lyra, who have a common origin with Terran humanoids, were driven out of that system many thousands of years ago. Some of the present-day inhabitants of the Lyra constellation are of reptiloid descent. During the Lyran Wars, which are mentioned in several contactee accounts, a mass exodus of humans reportedly left the system and escaped to the Pleiades, the Hyades, which are 130 light-years from Earth in the Taurus constellation, and to Vega, which is also in Lyra. This region, like our own system, is still a battleground between Saurian Greys and humans. Martians, inhabitants of the planet Mars, both human and non-human, including the alleged inhabitants of the two Martian moons, which many believe to be artificially hollowed asteroids, one of which, Phobos, is said to be under the control of the original Greys, or self-reproducing Greys, which are the hosts for the Grey clones, which operate from various space stations that are disguised as planetoids. It is from these carrier ships that the abduction, implantation, programming, mutilation, infiltration and other projects are carried out against planet Earth. It has also been suggested that thousands of years ago the surface of Lunar and Mars were much more habitable, that the surfaces of these bodies may have been decimated after passing through the asteroid belt or an asteroid storm, consisting of debris which may have been torn from a planet which apparently existed between Mars and Jupiter at one time, possibly destroyed by a close encounter with another planetary body in the tradition of Velikovsky's theories. It is believed that ancient ruins are possibly thousands of years old, have been seen on both planets, and that these attest to such a cataclysm. MIBs, also referred to as the Men in Black or Warlocks. These are apparently in many cases humans who are controlled by draconian influences, although other MIB have been encountered which do not seem human, but more reptilian or synthetic. The MIB have been encountered often after UFO sightings, usually intimidating witnesses into keeping silent about what they've seen. Many of the witnesses may be abductees with suppressed memories of the event. Their threats appear to be motivated by attempts to utilize terrorism, fear, or intimidation as a psychological weapon against witnesses. This weapon may not only be used to keep the human MIB under control, but by the human MIBs themselves. They are often, though not always, seen in connection with large black automobiles, some of which have been seen disappearing into mountains, as in the case of one basing area between Joplin and Lakeport, California. Canyons or tunnels, or in some cases apparently appear out of or disappear, cloak into thin air. Most humanoid MIB have probably been implanted by the Draconians and are essentially their slaves. Biosynthetic forms possessed by infernals also seem to play a part in the MIB scenario, as do subterranean and exterran societies. Sirius, at only 9+ light years away, has been identified as a major exterran MIB center of activity, with a subterranean counterpart existing in ancient antediluvian, Atlantean, underground complexes, which have been re-established beneath the eastern U.S. seaboard. These could be considered almost humans, made with animal tissue, and depends on a computer to simulate memory, a memory the computer has withdrawn from another human being. The almost humans may also fall under the category of the zombie-type aliens. Nagas, also referred to as the Araptoids, Araptiloids, Araptans, Homosaurus, lizard men, or the large-nosed grace. They play a significant role in the legends of India and Tibet, where they are considered by some to be demoniacal residents of a subterranean realm. They are described as being around 7 to 8 feet tall and of various colors, grotesque, but most often moldy greenish with scaled crocodilian skin. Allegedly descended from a branch of bipedal sauroids which existed thousands of years ago on Earth, and via mutation and natural selection developed the brain-body coordination necessary to develop a technology. Some species still reportedly retain a visible tail, although much atrophied from their supposedly extinct saurian ancestors. Some abductees claim that the lizard people resemble a humanoid version of a velociraptor. Nordics, wingmakers, blonde, blue-eyed, angular faces. Although Nordics are humanoid and externally almost identical to humans, there are subtle differences in the Nordic alien physiology, and most of them are based on the living conditions that they have grown up in. Their planets are extremely hot and dry, and have a low oxygen content in the atmosphere. They have a larger lung capacity than humans and have a copper-based blood in order to carry oxygen more efficiently. The eyes are protected by inner lids and can allow them to see into the ultraviolet range of the spectrum. They have only 28 teeth, as they lack a back pair of molars. Their heads are longer than humans. The brain case is about 2 millimeters thicker and the bone is harder. The brain is the same as the human brain as far as structure and size is concerned, except for the midbrain area, where there are functions that allow telepathic and telekinetic skills. It explains the psionic powers of the Nordics. They average about 2 meters in height. Females about 1.7 meters. They have no sweat glands. The skin allows moisture to be drawn from the air as well as moisture to penetrate. The heart beats at around 242 beats per minute, and the average blood pressure is 80 systolic and 40 diastolic. They have extremely dilated blood vessels. Orions, which come from the stars in the Orion constellation, are a group claimed to be working with the government on black op projects. They are very heavily involved in influencing the world population through the use of mind control. They have also been doing genetic work in which they alter human sperm and ovum to the extent that all offspring will produce hybrids with new characteristics. Humans will mate and create children with alien genetics. That's one step beyond the average abduction scenario. Some claim that negative entities have been associated with some of the stars in the Orion constellation. Other sources claim that the Orion Nebula is a cosmic doorway to infinity, or the realm of the Creator, which transcends the time-space matter universe. Some astronomers claim that a huge, beautifully illuminated multicolored light has emerged from the nebula and is on an intercept course with Earth. Although at a rather leisurely pace, and at this rate this light or star will reach Earth approximately 3000 AD, give or take 100 years. Could this have something to do with the prophecy in Revelation 21? Since the Draconians are attempting to conquer the heavens, they may have made futile attempts to enter the Eternity Gate and intercept the emerging light. War in heaven between Michael and the dragon. Pleiadians blonde or in some cases brunette, Nordic-type humans based in the Pleiadian, Taygeta, and other systems, which were allegedly colonized by refugees from their former planetary abodes in the Lyra constellation, which were invaded by reptiloid entities from Alpha Draconis, Thuban. The main Pleiadian planet of ERRA was reportedly terraformed by the Lyran refugees, Lyra being much nearer to Earth, around 30 light-years. The Pleiadians were apparently the first humanoid society to develop hyperspace travel. The U.S. government has reportedly known how to tap into hyperspace ever since the Philadelphia experiments of the 1940s. The Pleiadians claim that their technology surpasses our international technology by about 3,000 years. This may explain why the humans in Lyra were able to travel the vast distances from this part of the galaxy to colonize the Pleiades, some 430 light-years from Terra Earth. The Pleiadians consider themselves to be part of the Andromedan Council, based within some of the planetary systems within the Andromeda constellation. Procyon, one of the more positive extraterrestrial groups, are from a solar system that revolves around Procyon. Procyon is a binary yellowish-white star that rises before Sirius in Canis Minoris. About 11.4 light-years from Earth, they have been nicknamed the Swedes. They are humanoid in nature with blonde hair. They have a very strong positive spiritual attitude towards the humanity of Earth. The United States government was not interested in negotiating with the Procyons because they would not give them new weapons systems. The Procyonians have apparently crossbred with us at many stages in our evolutionary development. This was done for a much more noble purpose than the Greys. The Procyonians have a philosophy of service to others rather than service of self. They have been involved in trying to protect us from the evil activities of the Greys in reptilians. They are able to travel in time and between dimensions of reality. They frequently use mechanical vehicles for this, but are not dependent on them. The term Procyon translates into English as the home of those who travel through time. The Procyonians serve the law of one. They are here to help us help ourselves, totally respecting our free choice. RARANS. They landed on Earth approximately 110,000 years ago in an extraterrestrial mission to help Earthlings with their mental and spiritual evolution. Their main focus geographically was in Egypt and the Mayan civilization. The Ra refer to themselves as a sixth-density social memory complex. They no longer have physical bodies, they are light beings. However, they are able to materialize bodies as they need to. They came to Egypt in bell-shaped UFO aircraft. They refer to themselves as humble messengers of the law of one. They no longer operate in linear time as we do on Earth. They refer to themselves as a social memory complex, although still do have individual identities within this understanding. They are attempted to help in technical ways in terms of the healing of mind, body, spirit. Through the use of crystals, they were also involved in the building of the Great Pyramid of Giza. They made some contact in the Holy Land. Also, the pharaoh they contacted was Akhenaton. In the 18th dynasty, the pharaoh accepted the teachings of the law of one. However, his priests only gave this teaching lip service. The pyramids they helped create were used for spiritual initiation, and in this current day and age they refer to the Great Pyramid as a piano out of tune. They apparently originally had some connection with the planet Venus, however, no longer do now. In their physical manifestation on Earth, the physical bodies had a golden luster because of their high vibration. They did not apparently stay too long in Egypt. Once they realized that what they taught was being distorted, they stayed a little bit longer in South America, where they had a little more success. Sasquatch, large, hairy humanoids who are usually troglodyteal or cavern dwellers. Although they have been known to forage through mountainous or wooded areas on the surface in search for roots, berries, grasses, and nuts which make up their diet, they are believed to possess a heightened sensing ability which allows them to steer clear of human influence. They are more human than animal according to some reports, although they have often been mistaken for animals, which has forced him to take up a largely subterranean lifestyle. They have often been described as having a human face on an ape-like body. They are mostly strict vegetarians, which may be explained by the possibility that they might be a hybrid or hybrid between antediluvian humans and sapiens. Such interbreeding, if possible back then, is certainly not possible in modern times due to increasingly divergent genetic strains between the two groups. Most Sasquatch apparently possess a human soul matrix. They are usually described as being 6 to 9 feet tall, while other branches may be smaller, hairy humanoids. Both large and smaller, dwarf-like entities have on some occasions been observed in connection with UFO encounters or subterranean encounters. Sasquatch have been known to attack humans only in self-defense, sometimes throwing large boulders to frighten intruders away. There have also been hairy hominoids which possessed either robot-like or amphibian Sirius is the apparent epicenter of the ASHTAR or Astarte collective, where humanoids of various types, Sasquatch, are reptiloids, greys, insectoids and reptilian insectoid hybrid species as well as cybernetic MIB entities have collaborated in the past. The Syrians have waged war in the past with the Orion Empire or the Unholy Six, a reptilian star systems in the Orion Open Cluster. The ancient dispute involves just who will serve as the landlords of a sector of space containing 21 star systems, including the most strategic star system, Sol, particularly planet Earth, Terra or Shan, which is a virtual cosmic oasis of water, mineral, plant, animal and genetic resources in incredible variety compared with most other worlds. This dispute between the Syrians and Orion reptiloids dates back to the ancient invasion of Orion by the Draconian Empire, as a result of which many Nordic-type humanoids escaped to Procyon, Sol, Sirius and elsewhere. In recent times, a rift or split has occurred in the Ashtar collective following the discovery of massive infiltration into the collective by agents of the Unholy Six and Draconian Empires, with many humanoids taking sides with the Federation, which has a major Earth base under Furnace Creek, California, and many of the reptiloids taking sides with the Orion Draconian Empire, which has a major Earth base below Dulce, New Mexico. A collaboration of sorts by the electronic collective mind which links humanoid and reptiloid intelligences into a master mainframe via psionic implants still exists, however. A collective collaboration which maintains bases under Paradox, Nevada, Dugway, Utah and near the Denver International Airport in Colorado. This war in Sirius B is gravitating towards the Sol system, in that the opposing agendas for this system is one of the major issues of dispute between the two, or three, warring factions. It is one of the most brilliant stars that is observable in the night sky. In thinking of Sirius, then we must think of them in terms of being a group consciousness of both physical and non-physicality. The third-dimensional Syrians visited both the Egyptian and Mayan civilizations in times past. The Syrians gave the Egyptians much advanced astronomical and medical information. The Mayans and the Inca also had a very personal relationship with the Syrians. Much information was shared, and it is interesting that the Mayan race seemed to just vanish off the face of the earth at a certain point in their history. The Syrians left behind time capsules for our future generations to discover, one of which was supposedly the crystal skull.
Human residents of the Sol system who claim to have ties with ancient Terran societies, especially subterranean societies which developed off-planet travel early on and established underground bases and colonies on various planetary bodies in the Sol system, including the Jovian moons and the Saturnian moons on or under which they have allegedly established a tribunal center for the federated Solarian planets.
Vegans, relatively peaceful and gentle humans descended from refugees from the Lyran Wars, who work closely with other refugee colonists now living in the Pleiades, Wolf 424, and elsewhere, often described as dark-skinned Orientals, similar to the native residents of the nation of India. The vegan technology is about 250 years ahead of the Pleiadians, and they are also in contact with the Dal universe and are being assisted by them. All these civilizations are guided by non-physical beings who sit on the Andromeda Council. The vegans are darker in skin color than the Lyrians, with higher cheekbones and more triangular faces. The vegans also help to colonize star systems such as Altair, Centauri, Sirius, and Orion, among others. Andromeda is a large spiral galaxy, the closest to the Milky Way at a distance of 2.2 million light-years. Altair lies around 15 light-years from Earth. The Altair civilization is quiet and contemplative, and is given to peaceful philosophic pursuits. They are not currently involved in space exploration, and they were strenuously object to the Lyran involvement in Earth's evolution. Zeta Reticulans. The extraterrestrials from Zeta Reticuli are some of the most well-known and often seen space visitors. They are the 3 to 4 feet tall beings that are so involved in the abduction process. They are very science-oriented and share more of a group mind, and are not as individualistic as we are on Earth. They are also mentally developed to a fault, in the sense of their emotional sensitivity is not as developed. The channelings of Lissa Royal suggest that they come from a planet called the Apex Planet in the Lyran system. This was a planet that was very similar to Earth. Their spiritual growth, however, did not match their technological development, which finally led to a planetary cataclysm. The atomic explosions caused the plant life to deteriorate, which led the civilization to build underground shelters. It was during this underground period in their history that they began reproducing through cloning techniques, which is part of the work they continue in their abduction work on the human race. One of the other conclusions they came to was that their emotions were the cause of their surface destruction of their planet, so they no longer allowed emotions in their lives. This, from our earthly perspective, is like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. There is another group of Zetas called the negative Zeta Reticuli who are more power-hungry, that are causing a lot of problems. Part of the reason they are doing all their abductions of humans and animals is that the generations of cloning using the same genetic material has caused their evolutionary growth to become very inbred and stagnant. In truth, the race is actually dying. The Zeta Reticuli are also creating a hybrid race of both human and Zeta origin.